Welcome to Your Future Starts Now, the go-to podcast for extraordinary women who are ready to step into their next chapter with authentic confidence. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua, empowerment coach, motivational speaker, children's book author, and girl mom. Whether you're a corporate powerhouse or an entrepreneur, this show is designed for you. Your Future Starts Now is more than just a podcast. It's a movement towards rewriting the rules of success for high-achieving women. Are you ready to get unstuck and step into your next chapter? If so, you're exactly where you need to be. Your future starts now. Welcome to Your Future Starts Now. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to Soo Kim. Soo is an artist who specializes in mixed media. She has studied in one of the most prominent fine arts middle and high schools in Korea that led to her moving to New York to study communication design at Parsons, the New York School of Design, with a passion to draw and illustrate. Her background has been in fashion, marketing, and advertising, and most recently as an art director at Revlon. Soo, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, you can see Soo's incredible masterpieces behind me. I have them in my office because they inspire me every day. So, Soo, tell us a little bit about your background and your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Thank you. I've been a little bit all over the world. I grew up in California, sunny California, since I was 4 years old until I was in 5th grade. My father was an expat working for Hyundai Motors. And then after that, I grew up until I was in college in Korea. Fortunately, my parents sent me to school of fine arts where you just focus solely on all different types of arts. So that's when I learned pretty much everything that is needed to become a fine artist. It could have been design, sculpture, photography, watercolors to oil paints. So middle school and high school, I went through thorough training as an artist, and then I had the opportunity to be a transfer student in New York once I went to college, and I took up on that opportunity because I wanted to fly out and see the world. And I never went back home after that. After going out college, went through different stages, trying to go up the corporate ladder, worked for Saks Fifth Avenue, Lord & Taylor, Hudson's Bay, but all in fashion and beauty. My last job was working on fragrance collections, creating campaigns for Revlon. And that was about 3-4 years ago.
That's amazing.
So I decided to completely change my career and be a full-time artist and a teacher.
Wow. So talk to us a little bit about that. Did you just wake up one day and decide, I'm going to start my own business? Is it something you've always wanted to do? What inspired you to transition and start your own company?
I've always wanted to be an artist. That was one of my unfulfilled dreams since I was little. However, growing up under Asian parents, you have to fulfill their dreams of either being a doctor, lawyer, or going up one of the top corporate ladders. I essentially sort of kind of fulfilled my mom's dream of being in corporate and going up as high as I could, and I made her happy in that sense. But I think it was really time before I get any older. I really wanted to pursue my passion. And thankfully, during the pandemic, it helped me realize a lot of things. It kind of reframed who I am, what I could do. And also, the kids were also a big priority. I have 2 little kids still in elementary. And during the pandemic, I realized how much I've been missing in their lives. So that was one big decision-making process that I went through was like juggling through a lot, and then maybe becoming, and then going through the process of trying to fulfill my dream. But if I worked in corporate, once we ever have to go back, I would have to have to go to New York City every
Yeah.
day and
Yeah.
miss out on everything. So uh, those were, I think, the two main decision-making factors of really trying to fulfill my dream as an artist, and then trying to be home a little more to be with my kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the pandemic has impacted everybody in different ways. I hear a lot from working women, that the flexibility, the hybrid models, given a lot of flexibility and an ability to do things that we didn't have the ability to do before, like working remotely and things like that. But you took a step back and really decided to make a much more drastic and holistic change. And I think you and I share that experience. I'm curious as to what was the hardest part of that for you? What was the biggest challenge that you had to grapple with in making those decisions?
Yes, finance was obviously the hardest part,
Sure.
letting go. Um, really just realizing money isn't everything.
Mm,
Um, yes, you would make good money in corporate as steady income, but essentially, I I wasn't happy with who I am and what I was doing. It really comes from within, like within your core. You know it. Your body starts to break down. Like you're miserable. You're yelling at your kids. Like you're not. You. It all triggers to the point you step back and realize what the hell am I doing?
mm,
But I'm starting to become a depressed person. And I've always dabbled into art, and I stumbled upon alcohol inks randomly on Pinterest. I was like,
mm.
"Oh my god, this looks mesmerizing. I need to try it." I got it on Amazon, and that was its rest of history. I like fell in love with the medium so much. It's
Wow.
so relaxing. It's so soothing, very calming to do. It was a form of art therapy that I didn't know it existed. And it still heals me to this day when I create. And I am a firm believer that it does. And I needed the world to know about this process. Um, and that I think that's my passion. I need the world to know what art can do. It could heal, it could relax you, it could soothe you. I found uh, how much it does change in our lives.
Hmm.
That's why I couldn't go back. It was more powerful than anything else,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. There's a lot of power in that. And it's incredible to hear you talk about the healing powers and, art as a therapy. Um, and I have to say, like, I'm sure for you creating it, right, there's tremendous power there. And for others who are into art therapy, I think also for the receiver, I think you're bringing so much beauty and inspiration, right, that then goes in somebody's wall in their home that they see every day is also so incredibly beautiful. And that's like, you're giving your gift to the world, and this is how you're doing it.
Right. Right. I have a big piece of art in my living room right now, which I absolutely adore. And every time I come home, I look at it and like I like kind of let out a little sigh and be like, this is nice. Like I'm in my space.
Mhm.
I like
Mhm.
it kind of like soothes me in a weird, funny way, but I love looking at it once I step into my home. It's kind of like a welcome home type of art piece that I like. And I seasonally change it too, like depending
Sure.
on the weather. um, but yeah, I experienced that, and I need to show the world.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's funny you say that because it's one of the exercises I do actually with my clients is I think a lot of us are um visual. And so sometimes, I'll ask clients to think about what is one visual that will remind you of whatever it is they're working towards, whether it's confidence or their purpose or their why, or whatever is inspiring. Where can you put it? Is it on your desk? Is it on your computer? Is it in your bathroom, on your mirror? Because I think that can be super powerful. Like you said, you take a sigh and you just sort of take in that moment and recognize I'm in my space. And it can be so empowering. So I love that. And it's really just about finding what helps you get in that space. What challenges have you encountered that have been part of your success and have helped shape who you are today?
Obviously many challenges. I'll start
Mm-hmm.
off with going to the private art school when I was little, from middle school to high school. That was one of the most challenging uh, parts growing up, because I would study and practice art sometimes up until midnight. It was in Korea, that's just the standard way of learning. It's hardcore training every single day. And that's just the standard. I still, when I talk to my brother in Korea, like how they raise their kids, it's just the standard. But I think because I had the experience growing up in California and seeing the stark difference, that was almost traumatizing to me to go through. Because in sunny California, you just lay on the grass, read a book, roam around, and with your kids, you're just like playing with dirt and flowers. Like that's what I used to do. And then going to Korea and just like it, like I felt like I was I'm living in a chicken cage. And then
Mm-hmm.
going to school and like not coming back home until like midnight, and then going, just sleeping and doing it all over again. So it took me such a long time to get used to doing it, and it did show me grit. It did train me to be a really good artist,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
I could teach
Yeah.
anything. But that was definitely one of the biggest challenges that I had to go through. And I think in the back of my mind, I always wanted to escape. And I
Mm-hmm.
swore to myself that I would never raise my kids in that environment. So I must have had that subconsciously in my head. I wanted them to be a little more free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one. Really transitioning from corporate to being solo. Oof, I guess that was a tough time too, because I guess I wasn't in a mentally strong state at that time. I was juggling a lot,
Mm-hmm.
trying to start my own business while
Mm-hmm.
still in corporate. I think there was an overlap of like a year. I couldn't have done it without the help of my family, my mother-in-law, some friends,
Sure.
neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't just start your business and like wake up the morning and be like, I'm gonna make myself an LLC. No, it took me
Nope.
it took me a few years to get there. Like you have so much to learn. Yeah, learning how to make a proper LLC. Like
Yeah.
what's the steps that you go through? Like how do you start making connections? Um, a lot of coaching. I started to invest in myself. I think that was the most important thing. Um, yeah, and really just that gave me a lot of confidence to grow. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
still growing so much.
Mm-hmm.
I have so
Mm-hmm.
much to learn. But really getting that thought of I need and really investing in yourself so you could grow as a person, as an artist, as a business
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah. I don't, there's so much to unpack there in what you just said. There's so many valuable nuggets of information. I don't even know where to start. So, I mean, first, I love what you said about grit, right? And it helped develop who you are in terms of your discipline and your drive and your technical skills and your ability. And I think we all have our own forms of that in our lives, right? Growing up, whether it's through education or training or, you know, upbringing in terms of our parents. And I think it's so interesting because it does shape who we are. But then it also informs who we want to be in the future and who we don't want to be. Right. To your point about your parenting style, it influences then how we raise the next generation and what do we value that we think we want to carry forward and what don't we want to carry forward. I think it's such a powerful moment in your life to pause and really ask yourself, like, what do I want to pull through and carry through from my experiences, and what do I want to leave behind? What do I want to create? Right. I think there's tremendous opportunity there. And to use an artistic analogy, it's like that blank canvas, right? It's how do we create something new? And I think that can be really powerful. I love what you said about community support and tapping into resources and making sure you have the right people around you supporting you and investing in yourself. I think I can't underscore that enough, is like, because we are so, as high achieving women, focused on everybody else, we forget, right, that we also have to invest in ourselves, whether that's through self-care or training or coaching or therapy, whatever that looks like for you. The value there is just so critical, right? And it's that we're getting what we need to refuel ourselves and continue to grow, so that we can show up to be the wife and the mother and, the entrepreneur, the CEO or the leader, right, that we want to be is so important. So I love all of that. It's such a powerful lesson. Now when you transitioned out of corporate to do your own thing, there's sort of like an identity shift, I think, that happens. And I'm curious as to what you went through when it comes to having to sort of reinvent yourself. What does that reinvention look like to you? What does it mean to you? And how did you sort of navigate the journey of shedding your old identity and embracing a new version of yourself?
It was fascinating and liberating. I
Mm,
still remember when I had to update my LinkedIn profile.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
When you go edit your profile, like,
It becomes real.
I'm not art director anymore. But I still get the messages till this day. I was like,
Yeah.
are you interested? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, and when people come up to me, oh, what do you do? And now it was so weird saying I'm an artist for the first time. I kept telling them, oh, I was an art director. Like, I just went on and on, and I was like,
Yes.
just tell them who you
Yeah.
are.
It's hard.
It's mental. I
Yeah.
think you need to have the mental shift in yourself because you're
Yeah.
so used to the ways you grew up. You're so used to, yeah. But it was good because I could have a conversation with so many other working moms here who still go through. So it's nice. Yeah, it really came. It had to come from within. It was gradual though. I don't remember us. I guess when I talked to my boss and told her I'm leaving because I'm pursuing my art and to become an artist. I'm sure she was baffled, but I don't know. I told her the truth. I'm sure she was like, "What?"
Yeah.
But it was the only way. It really came from within, from very deep
Mm,
inside, that if I don't do it now, it's never going to happen.
yeah.
Um, I had that really big urge just to do it.
Yeah.
Um, and one of my old boss, she taught me like a really valuable lesson when I was in Hudson's Bay. She would always just tell me, I would go up to her like, I don't know how to do this. Like, she's like, start a campaign. I'm like, how? She's like, just start by starting. Just like
Yes.
put something down on the paper and just do it. I was like, okay. And I would go back to my desk and like look at a blank screen. I was like, but then I would start telling stories. I'm like, okay, how does, like, what kind of story can I tell? And then you just
Mhm.
start dissecting and then looking into like different avenues on how to tell a story, and then it comes, but you just really just have to do it. And I think that's what I tell myself pretty
Mhm.
much every day.
Mhm.
um not to, I mean, it's good to, I'm like the complete opposite. Like, I should be thinking a lot, thinking through a lot of things, but um to get things done. There's so much to do
Sure.
in 24 hours. You just have to start by doing something off your list, and then it'll naturally happen the rest of the
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such great advice. Start by starting. It's so simple, but so deep at the same time. But it's so true. You just got to start somewhere. And I love that you had this fire sort of ignited within you, and you felt pulled, right? You felt called, and you followed that calling. I find that a lot of times women have that fire, that calling, um, and it's hard for us to recognize it and learn to listen to it and follow it. Because of all the external influences, right, that we have. And so, to your point also about intuition, like how do we tap into ourselves and our intuition and listen to, our own voice, which can be really difficult sometimes. Do you feel like you struggled with self-doubt as you transitioned, and like what was that when you went through that process? And how did you overcome any sort of self-doubt that you might have experienced when you stepped out and starting your own business?
Self-doubt. Yes. I still talk to myself all day, every day. Unfortunately, I'm the one who has to pull myself out of it. So,
Yeah.
um, self-talk. I really, you know what? I just like had this tunnel vision at the point when I decided that I'm getting out of here.
Mhm.
And I actually just didn't give myself an option. I was just like, Sue, this is the only way
Yeah.
out. You're just going to go down this path and you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Just start doing things that make sense to you.
Yes.
So I didn't give myself a choice.
Yeah.
Um, I started making just monthly goals, yearly goals, took a bunch of workshops, did like coaching calls. And that
Yeah.
framed me and gave me an idea of what to do first. So yeah, it's really, I needed a lot of help. There's so many good resources out there once you
Mhm.
just start Googling.
Mhm.
um, Friends obviously help when I talk to them and tell them what I'm going to do. So they like give me a gentle push in the back. They're the ones who clap when I do something
Yeah, we
cool.
need that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
So obviously my mother-in-law is like my number one supporter. So she helps in any way it can. Um, but yeah, I just didn't
Yeah.
really give myself an option.
Yeah.
But I was very fortunate to have the support of my
Absolutely.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And for high achieving women, I feel like there's always this theme of we figure it out, right? We do well, we're really successful, and so the reward for that is we have more work to do.
Oh yeah.
And
But
right?
that was the same in corporate.
Yes, same thing. It's like you just now there's just more to do. And so it's like, you just figure it out. So to your point, it's like it's no different. You just figure it out. And I think similarly, my own journey, I feel like, I very much was a planner, and I very much was methodical and strategic and thoughtful and intentional. And I was thinking about, okay, here's ultimately what I want to do, but here's a plan B, and here's maybe a plan C. And then I read somewhere, and it just struck a chord with me. Don't give yourself the plan B. Don't give yourself the plan C, right?
Yeah.
That's an out, right? It's something for you to fall back on. And if you don't give yourself that option, there's only one path that you need to follow.
Right. I didn't see any other
Yeah.
way out. It was kind of like escaping out of jail in a very dramatic way. When you like feel stuck in like
Yes.
the hamster wheel, like this
Yes.
was the only way out. You got to dig that tunnel.
Absolutely. Such a great analogy.
Just dig it. Just do it every day. You'll get there.
Absolutely. Such a great analogy. So, Sue, based on where you are now in your life, I would love to know. We talk about, redefining success on this podcast. How do you define success? What does it mean to you today? And how has that evolved for you over time?
I mean, I do give myself generic goals in the beginning of the year, and I plan out like what big events I want to target, how many shows I want to do, how many collections I'm going to create. So I do a rough structure of what I want to achieve, but not. I don't go into the nitty gritty because that will give me so much anxiety and stress.
Mm.
So yeah, and whatever I do, or whenever I hit a goal, I pat myself in the back and like, I make sure that I tell myself when I do something that I wanted to do, I'm like, yes, good job, Sue. And then
Mhm.
we move on.
Mhm.
Because we're our own boss now. We're the ones. This is why I talk to myself all the time.
Well, there's no one else to talk to, so
We're the ones who have to like
yeah,
pat ourselves. We're the one who has to push ourselves. We're the ones who have to tell ourselves not to do the things that we shouldn't be doing.
absolutely.
But it's been good. I actually just started doing a co-working like 1 hour a week with a good friend of mine. She's a freelancer, art director as well, and it's been hugely beneficial.
Oh, wow, that's
um
smart.
yeah, it was actually nice. We were just kind of going through like our weekly goals and trying
Yeah.
to keep ourselves accountable.
Yes, I love that.
That was such a nice way. She's brilliant.
Yeah. What a
She
nice
kind of,
collaboration.
yeah,
Yeah.
even though we do completely different things,
Sure.
we still kind of align
Support
and
each
talk
other.
about it.
Yeah. That's
So
amazing.
whoever is very lonely like me in the studio, get a friend, go on a weekly call, and just talk about what you're going to do next week, and then you'll revisit.
Yeah. It's a great idea. Having an accountability partner is so important.
Mhm.
Now, for those of us who don't get to um, be an artist in our full-time career, I'm curious as to how can we infuse more joy and creativity into our daily routine, especially for those women who are in a corporate world. And, a lot of the things I hear are, oh, I'm not the creative type, or I don't have time for that. So I would love to know your advice around that.
It doesn't have to be art, but uh, who says it? Fair Play Life. There was a woman who says that finding your unicorn space that I hear all the
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
Um, something that's good for your soul. It could
Yes.
be cooking. It could be baking. It could be
Mhm.
just crocheting. It could be
Yes.
collage. It doesn't have to be art. Just having some time to yourself to do what you want. I
Yeah.
think that's really essential that we need, because we do take on so much. Um, yeah, our to-do list never ends as a
Mhm.
working mom,
Yep.
working parent. But really just dedicating that time for you to unwind or relax,
Yeah.
I think is very, very important.
Yeah. Absolutely. Doing something that refuels your soul and really is something that you're passionate about and that you enjoy doing, and carving out the time to make that happen on a consistent basis, whatever that is for you.
Yeah, I realize that when I don't have um some of my creative downtime, I catch myself uh getting like more either emotional or getting high
Yeah.
anxiety. So
Mhm.
you're like, oh, I need some downtime here, and then I
Yeah.
like have to escape for a little bit.
Yeah. It's all
Um,
related.
so you need to
Absolutely.
yourself. But
Absolutely.
if anyone would love to try alcohol inks with me, I'm here in Glen Rock, New Jersey.
Amazing. And you do classes as well.
Yeah, I do spinning classes for adults. I've taught a lot of moms, friends, groups, small class groups where we have wine and we let go with beautiful colors, and yeah, It's a really cool experience.
Yeah, it sounds like so much fun. So is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap up?
Yes, I am really excited to launch my next collection, inspired by a book called Black Sheep. I actually partnered with an author, Wat Nylander, and it's about self-empowerment journey of beautiful poetry. And I became a huge fan of hers, and I stalked her on Instagram. And I was like, I'm so inspired by your words. I want to make a collection. And she surprisingly said yes. So we're
Wow.
collaborating together to create a very soulful, beautiful works with her words. So yeah, I'm really excited. It'll be launching later next month. I mean, this month.
Amazing.
Hopefully.
I cannot wait to see what comes out of that collaboration. It sounds incredible. And good for you for reaching out. I think so often we're intimidated or we have that self-doubt or we think, oh, nothing's going to come of it, but you don't know until
I
until
know.
you do, right?
I was like, yeah, I was very, very nervous because
Yeah,
she has a bigger following.
sure.
I just fell in love with the words, and I had to. It was more of an impulse.
Yeah. Well, I think again, it was you following your intuition, which is so
Yeah,
brilliant.
thank you.
Sue, thank you so much for being here, sharing your insights, your expertise, your journey. How can our listeners learn more about you and how can they connect with you?
um, Instagram, you'll really see my raw behind the scene process of how I create what I do. I'm very active on Instagram, and you'll see on my website. Oh, I'm in the midst of launching a new website too. See, there's so many things going on. I don't remember. I'm in the midst of launching my new website, so it'll be a more pleasant experience for everyone
That's
to see
great.
and shop, and So you'll see me on my Instagram, Susu Studios, or my website.
Perfect. And
Yeah.
of course, you can visit my website at gialacqua.com. Reach out on Instagram at gialacqua. On the homepage of my website or in the bio link on Instagram, you can download your complimentary copy of From Chaos to Clarity, a 30-day journal for self-discovery and healing. This is Gia signing off with gratitude for your time and energy. Our mic drops, but the movement continues. Until next time, your next chapter is waiting. Take care.
That concludes another empowering episode of Your Future Starts Now. Before we wrap up, I want to thank this incredible community of high-achieving women. Your energy, resilience, and commitment to growth are the driving force behind what we do. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate it, leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Your feedback fuels our mission to empower high-achieving women just like you. And of course, share Your Future Starts Now with the extraordinary women in your life who are also on a journey of healing and empowerment. Connect with us on social media, share your thoughts, let us know what topics you'd like to explore in future episodes. Stay connected on Instagram at gialacqua. I encourage you to carry the energy of this conversation into your day and keep on supporting the incredible women around you. Until next time, remember, your next chapter is waiting.